Hi friends, I want to give you a quick walkthrough of the project I made for September's collaboration with Lottie's Magic Attic, and it was called Fairy Things and Forgotten Things, and you had different prompts for each day. So I have this little box. You can see I used Wink of Stella in several areas, and so on this little box here, there's a little dangle. And on this little dangle, get her a little closer, there's even a little fairy. So I thought that was the appropriate dangle for this. I did not make it. Somebody else made it for me. So let's open this up. I closed it with magnets. So there's 4 magnets here and here, and they just match up together to close the little box closed. So this is the top. And then it sits up this way. So for videoing purposes, I'm just going to lay it flat so it'll be a little easier for you to see what I have in here. And let's just start with this end, shall we? Okay, so I put 2 little pockets in here. Let's take out all our little ephemera bits. So I have 2 pockets here. Slide that up there so we can... Oh, and look at this. I have to show you this trim that I found. It looks like little gears, so I thought it was perfect for my little steampunk fairy journal. Okay, so I have a key. I have a little envelope. Dream big. I have some little circles. I have a little clock because it's steampunk-ish. Isn't that a pretty flower? I love that flower on the back. And then I have this tag that has a pocket made with one of the circles. Mushroom tag. And then this tag. Put a little bunny on there, and I just stapled a little bit of sari silk to the top. And then, of course, because it's fairyland, you know, everything's got a glitz and sparkle. So I put some Wink of Stella on there. Set those aside. And then I also put a little bit of this gauze stuff under here and a little label. And I thought the magnets, I could have covered them up. I thought about first initially putting them behind this layer. But then I thought, you know, they really kind of go with the steampunk theme. And sorry, I have to apologize if my throat is a little scratchy. I have been pretty sick lately. So I think there's 6 little pockets here. So I'm going to empty each one out and we'll go through each one. Oh, and right here I have a belly band. And then in this pocket, I stuffed it full. So this is one of the trolls from the story. A snail. And I'm trying to get the light on there. Wink of Stella. Ooh, there we go. And then on the back side of this, tiny little belly band with a little shell. The shell came from Petals and Parchment. And I, of course, put Wink of Stella on there too. There it is. Then I have a little thimble with a little tag. Glitzed it up too. I thought since this was the sewing one with the thimble, I put a little 4-patch image on the back. I thought that was appropriate. And then I have this little magic. This is the Northern Lights with the magic wand. And then I put some like glitter flakes on it. I can't remember what they're called. And a little fairy dust bag. And I put a little bit of glitter glue on it here and there, plus Wink of Stella. Let's see, nothing too exciting on the back. And a snowflake. So snowflake was one of the prompts. And I put glitter glue on the dots and Stella in the middle. A little fern. So a lot of these were with some of the free downloads from Lottie's Magic Attic. Pretty, huh? And then this fairy, I really did up her wings there. Because, well, you know, she's a fairy and she has to glisten. Even her dress glistens a little. Steampunk on the back. And then a little steampunk fairy here. More glistening. Okay, so that's the first pocket. And then also what I wanted to show you was the way this little box was designed. There's plenty of space between each of the envelopes, so I could really load up these envelopes, which I did. In the front of this one, move that stack aside. On the front of this one, I put a belly band, but I knew what I was putting in there was thick. So I kind of gusseted it a little bit, so I made a little bit of extra room in there. And then I have in here, more Stella, right? Swinka Stella. I have this little envelope with some little bits of ephemera in here. Some little sunflower steampunk guys. And then this, I was pretty proud of this one. So I put some rub-on flakes, basically is what they were. Silver flakes on there. And some Link of Stella. Just to make everything really sharp, really glisten and sparkle. And then this is a bit of handmade paper that I used a border cut on, border die. And inside here is the map. This is the map of all the fairy worlds. Oh, so you can see it's aged and it's thin, it's delicate. Isn't this fun? And so I purposely folded it and aged it and, you know, tore it and wrinkled it up and stuff. So I thought that was kind of fun to do. And then it stays inside here and then in the belly band. Okay, and then inside this pocket, so this is the second one still. I have some flowers with a little lantern back there. I just glued them together, nothing exciting. Acorns, another little envelope. Her dress glistens. And some more ephemera in here. Little steampunk flowers. I tried to keep everything steampunk flavored is what I want to say. Related with a fairy theme. This was the spider web. So in the center it's got glitter glue. This one was, the prompt was something with movement. So I put one of those wobblers back here. It's like a little spring that glues on. A little postcard. A little fairy. I put little Wink of Stella on all of her little pearls and her wings and the flowers. And then I have this little flask, I guess it's called. And then I put Stella on the outsides of the glass and then on the highlights. And then I did some faux stitching with a silver metallic marker, with a Sharpie actually, silver Sharpie. And then here's our other little card for this one. She's got all Stellaed up also. Okay, and then pocket number 3 here. I made a little side tuck here. So the prompt for this was something sewn that just has some stitches on it, just a little scrap of fabric. And then this was something to add texture. So this was a ticket shape. And then I just put a little piece of gauze and some string behind there and then some gems. And then I have this little ticket here, tiny tag that just fits right in there. So that's like a side tuck. And then inside here, I really loaded these pockets up because I had so much space and I was really enjoying what I was doing. So let's make a little bit of room here. So I thought this was fun. This was a gear that I just happened to punch out, and it looked like a little face, so I just had to include that in something. And then regular gears on the back, but it's just a circle punch that I used as a pull. Mushrooms. Fern, so I've glued the fern shape onto a piece of cardstock, and this serves as a pull, but to dress it up I put Stella on the back side and then here too, so that one's two-sided. Then I have this one, and I have, this is one of my favorites, the Flamingo Fairy. So she's all glistening too. And then we have the ladybug and the spoon, and a little fairy door, and a little flower bed. This one I took a fine tip gel pen, and I went around a lot of the petals and stuff to give it more details. And then I did some little faux stitching here also with that same fine tip pen. And then here's the card. So her wings glisten. Okay, next. I just thought this was really cute the way he was peeking out here. That's one of the trolls that was giving Lottie some trouble. Actually, not Lottie. It was giving Professor Fernscribe some trouble one day. And then here, this is just a little lace flip up, and underneath is a little guy on just sitting on that little doily. So let's see what all we have in here. So our little troll, one of the prompts was use something from nature. These are actually pine needles from one of my trees outside. So I glued those down, and then I glued some flowers over the top. And then there's this. Fairies play music, the leaves descend, autumn's beauty begins again. This one was really pretty in her little orange tangerine colored outfit. There's a key with a little, I tried to make that look 3D by adding some sparkle on there, so it looks kind of like an opal. A feather from a phoenix, that's what I think. And our other little card. Okay, sorry. In this pocket, I have a little pocket on the front here, and I used this same printout so that it matches perfectly. When I cut it there, it lines up and you can't even tell that's a pocket, but there's a little pocket there. And then in there I put this special little fairy. I love her. The little hammock, feather, and another little fairy on a toadstool. And then inside the pocket, so that was in the front little pocket here. Inside the big pocket here, we have this egg. This prompt was to make something with petals. So I thought this egg looked like it was made with petals. It's a dragon egg. And some journaling space on the back if you want. A little swing. A treasure box, and I put glitter glue here so that it would really sparkle in the center, and then a wink of Stella around it so that it had a little bit of sparkle. And then her wings also sparkle. Whoops, I missed one. Buttons. I think I put Stella around the edge of the glass here to give it a little sparkle also. I think I went through a whole pen of wink of Stella on this thing, but once I got started, everything had to have Stella. I didn't want anything to feel left out, right? The dress sparkles if I can get the light right. And then I put some along the little gold bits too, and then I outlined the dress and then added a little bit on the petals of her dress. And then that's the card that went with this pocket. Okay, now we're to the back page, the back cover of my little, I don't know what to call this. My little book, my little box, my little journal. One of the prompts was something miniature. So I made a teeny tiny little book, but because it was it's kind of thick, see that? It's maybe over a quarter of an inch, a little over a quarter of an inch thick. And I wanted to be able to keep it in here someplace, but I had space here still, right? I have space here. So I attached it with magnets. Isn't that smart? Look there. I put 2 magnets on the back and 2 magnets on here, and then that can just attach right there. So here's my little miniature book. These actually come out. I was going to grab my tweezers so I can pull them out, but I forgot. So there's a little, this is actually a little sword, tag, the owl, and then this is a little teeny tiny library card. And, I don't know, just a little label on the front of the library card pocket there. Okay, I'm just going to set those aside. And then here, in our little miniature book, mostly just pictures, but I decorated them. I glued things on. I glued this little butterfly down the center so it looks like he's 3D. Some more butterflies. I was kind of thinking of it like a little butterfly book. I glued those in. Okay, and then in the back pocket here, we have a little slide. Let's see here, I want something behind it. Well, that's not good. How about this? So you can see behind it, there's the fairy dust in there, which is really glitter glue trapped between 2 layers of plastic in a specimen slide. And then a lantern with some gems on it. And this was a tag with a pocket. This prompt for this was snowflake. So this is like snowflake everything. So snowflakes here, snowflake here, the pocket, even a snowflake on the back. And I put some snowflakes on the silver accents on the back. And then in the snowflake pocket, there's more snowflakes. All kinds of little snowflakes. Sorry for the sniffling. My nose is starting to run. Whoopsie. Too many snowflakes. I had a little avalanche. Get it? Snowflakes avalanche. And then the tag, and I did some little faux stitching with my pen on there. And even up here. And then our very last card was this moonlight memory. So the prompt for this was something that makes you, that holds a special memory for you. And this is the Northern Lights. And my memory was the time that we tried to, we drove around in the middle of the night looking for Northern Lights here in Colorado, but we never did see them. So anyway, that was fun. Hope you enjoyed that. Bye.